We live in a culture of constant comparison and feeling like everyone has it better than us. However, if we go about our lives constantly comparing and feeling behind, we are bound to waste our lives feeling unfulfilled. My goal in this video is to give you the reasons and the confidence to go about your life in your own unique way by introducing you to a personality framework known as Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. You will find this way will feel most natural to you, as it will be most aligned with who you really are, rather than being pressured to conform by the society that we live in. So let's go ahead and break down the internal workings of this framework, based on work from Carl Jung and Isabel Briggs Myers. There are 4 dimensions on which each person is placed on a spectrum between 2 poles. Firstly, we have the introversion extroversion dimension. This dichotomy refers to how the individual is energized. About 40% of the population lean towards introversion, meaning the majority of people are extroverted in preference. The further the individual leans towards introversion, the more one seeks solitude to regain energy, and one is drained by social interactions. Conversely, the more one leans towards extroversion, the more one is energized by social interaction and is bored by spending time alone. Jung defined introversion more precisely as attitude type characterized by orientation in life through subjective psychic contents. And he defined extroversion as attitude type characterized by concentration of interest on the external object. Typical interests of the introvert include listening to music, reading, watching movies or TV, writing, art, photography, gardening, baking, meditation or yoga, etc. Typical interests of the extrovert include socializing with friends, socializing with new people at a party, doing outdoor activities with others, traveling, going out for dinner, etc. Introverts especially enjoy one-to-one deeper conversations, whereas extroverts prefer group conversations that are considered more as small talk. Next, we have the sensory intuition dimension. This dichotomy refers to how the individual processes information. About 70% of the world's population leans towards a sensory preference of processing information, leaving 30% to be more intuitive. Sensors in general prefer to process the world in terms of concrete facts and sensory information. For example, when trying to piece together parts of a wardrobe, sensors are likely to follow the instructions word for word, one step at a time. On the other hand, intuitive people are likely to envision the end product or instinctively know how the parts go together on the sensory information they have accrued. They have an intuitive feel for how the world works rather than being only aware of what's right in front of them. Sensors are generally characterized as practical, detail-oriented, down-to-earth, common sense types of people, whereas intuitives are generally more abstract, big picture, head in the clouds, dreamer or visionary types of people. To sum up the difference, sensors look for specific parts of pieces of a problem, whereas the intuitive searches for patterns or relationships between the pieces. The next dichotomy is thinking-feeling. This refers to how the individual makes decisions. Feelers are more common in the population as they account for roughly 60%, leaving 40% thinkers. If the individual's preference is thinking, they will tend towards making decisions based upon cold logic. They strive to be unaffected by their emotions, so they can be as objective and rational as possible with analysis when it comes to making a decision. They value being right and truthful over hurting people's feelings. Toward the opposite end of the spectrum, we have the feelers. As opposed to the thinkers, the feelers are more subjective when it comes to making a decision. They are likely to be far more sympathetic, personal, humane, empathetic, and consult their personal values. You can sum these two up more simplistically as thinkers making decisions from the head and feelers making decisions from the heart. And the final dichotomy is judging-perceiving. This refers to how the individual organises the outer world to solve problems. These two types are roughly in equal proportions in the general population. Those who have a judging preference like to take a structured and organised approach to dealing with a problem. They see a goal they would like to attain and narrow their focus to one efficient approach. They are likely to make a detailed plan in order to simplify the world around them into an organised framework to attain this goal. They feel uneasy when this framework is challenged or when something completely unexpected happens, which makes them averse to change. Conversely, Those whose preference is perceiving are more likely naturally flexible and spontaneous. They are far more likely to jump in and figure things out as they go, without any detailed plan. They like to explore different paths and do not focus on attaining any particular goal unless they are forced to. The perceiver's environment is likely to be far more messy, whereas the judge's environment is likely to be more organised. You can sum up the difference between these two types like this. Perceivers organise their inner world to have outer world freedom, whereas judges organise their outer world to have inner world freedom. Different combinations along these 4 dimensions sums up the personality of the individual in this framework. For example, someone that is INTP is an introvert, an intuitive, a thinker, and a perceiver. And someone that is an ESFJ is an extrovert, a sensor, a feeler, and a judger. This gives 16 different possible personality types we will explore in future. There are further complexities to this model, we will explore them in future videos. That just about concludes the introduction to the Myers-Briggs personality type indicator. Thanks for watching.